Star quality. I got it. I got this. You got it. You got it. My chart says so. Look at me go. Sun, moon, rising. It's all about time. It's all about time. Earthlings. What's it all mean? What's it all mean? Star quality.
What's it all mean? What's it all mean?
Star quality. No, dude, really? What does it all mean? Star quality. I got it. You got it. We got it. Star quality. Star quality. Welcome back to Star Quality, everybody. I missed you. I am so grateful to have my computer back. If you listen to the last episode, my computer was in the shop and it had surgery on it. I got a new logic board. It got wiped. Lots of things happened. So that was a very literal Mercury retrograde moment for me, but came out on the other side. Actually had the best Mercury retrograde of my life. Anyone else? It's always going to be different for everyone in their charts, but one of my good friends, astrologer and tarot reader, Drew, aka Angelite Astrology, her and I were kikiing because we just were feeling so many Mercury retrograde blessings in a very eerily connected same way. So yeah, we did it. We did Mercury retrograde. Curious how that felt for everybody. It was sitting right on my ascendant, and I don't know, maybe it's because Mercury in Cancer can be so up and down. It almost felt like Mercury retrograde in Cancer gave, for me, a very stabilizing effect to the very, often moody and lash outy, and I don't know, just, Cancer placements in general. Cancer energy can really be all over the place and unpredictable and attack mode in some ways too. And I enjoyed I was like, maybe Mercury in Cancer should always be retrograde. Just so many things that happened work wise, money wise, just lots of things are cooking over here. So just send me your love. I will send you love back. I also, something I can share because it's already happened, but me and Drew, who I just mentioned, and my friend Leah, we all went to see the music, fashion, film screening for Charli XCX's new album, and I part of that luck that happened, got to grab tickets, sold out. They're free because bless Charli. Then we go to the screening. I did pick the one in near West Hollywood by the Chateau Marmont because I was like, well, if she's gonna pop in, she's gonna pop into the one. She lives in the Hollywood Hills. She's going to come to this one. No offense to Pasadena and Santa Monica, but I just know, this will be the one. And we get there, and we get, a free shirt. We did this. We all also went to Addison all together last year at the Greek Theater and saw her concert. And when we saw Addison brought out Charli then to do the song To Die For. And then we were like, what if our group sees Charli again? We're the Charli summoners. And then as we get, the movie's supposed to start at 9, and then the people at the theater were like, we're a little behind. And I knew. I was like, why are we behind on a screening? They're not bringing the film in on a vault or whatever, or inside a vault. And then, yeah, there was 20 minutes delayed. I was like, okay, girl, finish your drink at the chateau and get your ass over here. And then she came out. It was so fab. And, I'm really loving this new album. Loving it a lot. I can't stop listening. I think it's fab. I'm really in. Love the song Yeah. Love Camera. Camera makes me cry, guys. I cry with the song Camera. Yeah. I just said yeah. I meant to say wink wink, but it came out yeah. Rock music also. Just, I'm really into it. I think it's sick. I love this Against the Grain album, and I love a Scare the Hose album. I love the art school side of Charli too, with the end track being this looping, David Cronenberg talk. It's fun to see a little push in the accessibility. And I think this full moon is really encapsulating of that too. You know, we're in this very rage against the machine sort of time. I mean, CoStar selling to Midjourney, the AI company, this past week. If you don't know, CoStar, probably one of the most, if not the most popular astrology app, sold to Midjourney, and their founder posted this like multi-part story series of like, I was a bike messenger and I came up and now my sold to AI company or whatever. And it's like, which I've heard allegedly that this like, you know, DIY indie story is very fabricated, allegedly. And I've allegedly heard that this founder comes from allegedly some big money. Maybe I'll talk more about it after the paywall for the real heads. You know, and it's not illegal, but I just think, yeah, in those stories was like, oh, I'm a punk. I came up in the punk scene and it taught me XYZ. It's like, there's nothing punk about making apps. There's nothing punk about selling to an AI company. Like, just say you want money. Like this has been the frustration, I think, of, I don't know, coming on Mercury retrograde. Everyone's coming in hot. I just got into some fucking e-beef last night. Whatever. Again, I'll save it for the third spacers if it comes up. If I even want to give it energy. That's the other part. It's like, we're clearly moving into a new future. The full moon in Aquarius, last full moon that we'll have before we go into eclipse season. So shit's only ramping more and more up. And yeah, you know, back to the co-star of it all, like, I don't know. I mean, they've been using AI, like they had it in their FAQ. Like co-star has been quite, you know, AI proponent-y from the jump. But yeah, I don't know. Like, is anyone surprised? It's like it's the same thing with like any like celebrities or brands or politicians or, you know, like, it's just like follow the money. Not to put on my tinfoil beret for a moment, but there's just follow the money, you know, like, guys, we're all just being, so much is played in our faces as society. And so I think, do you want to play with it or do you want to go do your own thing? So I don't know. I'm also here, you know, recording and posting on another platform that people have questioned in many ways. So like, where can we all gather that's not just you know, a profit machine? I don't know. So this full moon is happening in Aquarius. It's happening, well, it already technically went exact earlier this morning at 7:35 a.m. Pacific time on July 29th, 2026. Adjust for your time zone. And this is, it's a very epic full moon because we're also in a Jupiter Cazimi at the same time. So Jupiter is in Leo and then it moves into the heart of the sun. And so it's going to be one of the luckiest days of the year, but also like, I think a reminder with Jupiter things is like Jupiter can make everything bigger and more bombastic and annoying and louder than one might want. And this is with Leo, which is quite dramatic and sometimes can be, you know, I think sometimes Leo can be a bit, what's it like, all bark. Maybe we'll see how much there's bite, you know. But yeah, this full moon is exactly opposite at 6 degrees of Aquarius. This sun at 6 degrees Leo, because full moons are always in opposition, and Jupiter at 6 degrees. So this Jupiter Cazimi is quite loudly a part of this story. I'm going to go through the whole chart of this full moon. But before I do, just a reminder, speaking of all the things, if you would like to support Star Quality, if you'd like to support me, Stevie, please consider upgrading your subscription. If you're on free mode, all good. I appreciate you. Thank you. There'll always be free available things. But if you would like to join for $7.77 a month, you for buying me an iced coffee once a month, which is ice latte with oat milk to be specific. You get all the paywalled second sides of the episode. You get the full weekly horoscope, which cuts off at Wednesday on the other side of the paywall, and other paywall-y things. So I appreciate the user support. This is an indie user-supported pod. I actually just ranked again in the top 100 charts on Substack for spirituality. So, the more people support, the more I can like do this in a full-time sort of capacity, and because I'm a regular person doing regular work, doing readings too. If you want to book a one-on-one reading, I don't know if I have any times in my calendar. I've gotten so fucking busy. So if you want a reading, email me or check the calendar. But if there's no calendar times, like email or DM me, and we'll find a time. And I can do Zoom, or if you're in LA, we can do in person. So let me know. I'm trying to think if there's anything else to plug or that's worth sharing that you guys should keep your eyes on. Well, if I remember anything, I will let you know. But let's get into this full moon. So yeah, this full moon. Well, first we have the nodes now in Aquarius and Leo. However, this full moon is not an eclipse, though the nodes are there, because visually, when you look at the chart, which is going to be in the show notes of this eclipse, oh my god, it's not an eclipse, of this full moon, if the node isn't near the new lunation, then it's not going to cause an eclipse effect, because the eclipse effect is from the positions of the nodes in the sky, which aren't an actual point, but an ecliptic point of where the sun and moon's paths cross, and that's what causes the eclipses. So, though this is an Aquarius full moon, it is not an eclipse. We will be heading into eclipse season soon. This is the last lunation before. That's what's up. We're going to have a eclipse on August 12th, 2026. That's going to be a solar eclipse, so a new moon solar eclipse in Leo. And then we get our last Pisces eclipse on August 28th, 2026. Last one. We're not done with the Pisces Virgos eclipses. We will wrap that up in February. So just give you a looking ahead. So August 12th, 2026, we'll have the solar eclipse in Leo. August 28th, 2026, we'll have the Pisces, the last one in Pisces, lunar eclipse. Then in the new year, our first eclipse will be February 6th, 2027. We'll have a solar eclipse in Aquarius. So that will be our first. No, we had a solar eclipse earlier in Aquarius. So we've started this process. It is just our first time with the nodes there. And then our last final Virgo Pisces eclipse action will be happening February 20th, 2027. We'll have a lunar eclipse in Virgo, and that's the end for now of our Pisces Virgo eclipse action. And then we'll be full cruising into Aquarius Leo eclipses, with actually one Capricorn eclipse next year, which also, if you haven't noticed with eclipses, it's sort of like a edging baton process. We'll have some eclipses in the signs where the nodes are, but then also we'll start that transition into the next sign series too. So yeah, that's what's up. Full moon. This full moon is doing a few things. Let's talk about the aspects happening to the sun and moon, which, lucky for folks on the free side of the paywall, there's a lot. So you're going to get a lot of info that would normally be on the other side. But because there's so many aspects happening to the moon and the sun, we'll get into it all. First things first, this Aquarius full moon is conjunct Pluto. Pluto is in Aquarius. Pluto been in Aquarius for a little bit now. But this, when we have the sun conjunct Jupiter in opposition to the moon conjunct Pluto. So we have the sun is hanging out with Jupiter and the moon is hanging out with Pluto, and they're in this opposition. And Jupiter is in this, banging Jupiter Kazemi. Jupiter, I think, really connected to, of course, our wishes, our goals, what we want our lives to look like on this really big scale. And I feel like this Aquarius full moon conjunct Pluto, something structural. It feels kind of Tower card, you know what I mean? There's something with maybe how, especially with the moon being more subconscious energy, how we've been processing things. Maybe it's just something we're finding maybe we're just over processing. When you're over therapized. I've over thought about this thing. I've over obsessed. I've over whatever, because I think the Jupiter conjunct the sun opposition is just really living life instead of just thinking about living. I think there's something here that's really a bit ego deathy, a bit I don't know, maybe I'm also influenced by the music fashion film of it all, nothing lasts forever, all we have is now, so what are you gonna do with that? there's almost like a releasing expectations. Maybe it's also because we're finally moving away from the Virgo Pisces of it all. And I think the Virgo Pisces can be so much about control and versus outcome, and in like the intention of like how the processes will go versus like the release. And I think there's something here that's very, and we continue to be welcomed into change. That I'll get into it more in a bit, but like the outer planet configuration is just a constant background noise about how nothing that we're doing is the same as it used to be. We're in a very new timeline. Get with the program or make your own program. I think the Sun-Jupiter conjunction, the Sun-Jupiter cazimi can also be so much about like really being, for better or worse, very strong and adamant in your beliefs, because Jupiter we also tie to our spirituality, our religion for some people, so that's why it's like it can be the good and the bad. But there is something here of like there just may be some communities or groups or maybe places or people, etc., where you've been spending your time that maybe don't really match up with where you're trying to go. There's actually a really cool chart pattern that's happening. If you take a look at my chart image, where it looks like, and maybe I'm also coming off of, I went last night to a twin astrology of Twin Peaks talk with Vivi Henriette and a bunch of other great astrologers, and it's you can follow Vivi at Art of the Zodiac, so I'll shout out on the Substack. But there's this the reason why I brought that up is because there's this chart pattern right now that is like a cat's cradle. So it's part in this convo with this Barbo's basket. But if you look at the chart, it looks like two twin peaks that is happening. And you have Uranus and Neptune being the peaks of the peaks. And I think it's just while to talk about the outer planets for just a second, I think having Uranus and Neptune being our kind of guiding lights of maybe if we're feeling stuck, where to look, because I do think there is this reminder for like needing change and variety, and also needing to just feel something in a very Neptunian spiritual way. If we've been in quite a Groundhog's Day vibe, where can we like deviate from our normal routine? And I think it just also requires getting uncomfortable. There's a great recent Greg Araki quote, about like sexless Gen Z, whatever culture. And it's like, yeah, like we also just have to like quote, make mistakes. And I think this quest for perfectionism or never doing life wrong is it's just not what life is. I just got like the sudden urge to look up the Sabian symbols for 6 degrees of Aquarius and 6 degrees of Leo. If you don't know, the Sabian symbols are a set of 360 different images and words for each degree of the zodiac. So I pulled these from James Burgess's website, so we can sit with some of the symbolism from the Sabian symbols and see if this also kind of gives us some insight. And I feel like these are both really fitting. I don't know if I've ever come across a Sabian symbol where I'm like, wow, really doesn't hit, but also similar to like a tarot pool, it's like, even if it's something that feels away from you, it came up, right? And so like let's work with it. But the symbol for 6 degrees of Aquarius is a child born of an eggshell. So it's like it shows this like image of this like baby coming out of like an egg. And one of the lines from this says, dramatic changes occur when entirely new mutations occur that break the traditions of the past. Breaking with tradition being the key word. And I think this makes a lot of sense with Pluto. This reminds me of like the phrase, like, if you want to make an omelet, you got to crack a couple eggs. Like sometimes we could stay in our shell. We could stay in this, protective womb-like space, and we could stay. And also this feels like choosing ignorance, right? We could stay in our little bubble, or we could break out and be, while we're tied to our ancestry or our past or our family, we can break out and we're starting our new life with or without anyone else, right? Aquarius is just so collective, and I think this is also a reminder of when we got to break. I like this quote too, like breaking the matrix, like break away maybe from maybe even beliefs that we once had, things, realizing that we are changing people and that we might not like the same thing forever and ever. And what do we do with change? Like, you know, for some we'll stick with it, and for other, like, we don't have to stick with it. I think that's the other part. Like, this full moon is like, you don't have to keep doing shit you don't like, or dating someone you don't like, or being like keeping up family relationships that you don't like. And again, that doesn't always mean, oh, I have to now estrange from everybody. But like, aren't you exhausted? Like, that's what comes back. Like, aren't you tired? Like, aren't you tired hitting your head against the wall? The Sabian symbol then for Leo at 6 degrees is the constellations in the sky, which is really cute considering we're also looking at this from a Jupiter Cazimi perspective. So this 6 degrees of Leo, you know, applies to the Leo sun, but also Jupiter. The line from this James Burgess pull, as unchanging as star patterns, there are some basic truths that underpin all systems of spiritual knowledge. Knowing of the spiritual truth beneath the illusion of that which changes. Gonna read this real quick too. Is the phrase "as above, so below" from Hermes Trismegistus, I can't say that, but whatevs, indicates that everything in existence has its equivalents in physical matter. Whatever flights of fancy we entertain, we may depend upon the surety that in some way all reality takes form, and that space and time will somehow produce the substance of what we dream. A rare few have the courage and wisdom to understand this. Okay. This is also talking about being able to fully understand the difference between a serious quest for knowledge and the aimless wandering through the stars. I mean, maybe it's the co-star of it all too, and maybe it's because, you know, I do a lot of events now. I'm doing a lot more like busy, full, seeing a lot of people. I've read for, I mean, probably thousands of people at this point. And I feel like, especially in this really hard year, hearing so much of like, is this good or bad? What does this mean? Well, what does this mean? Well, what do the stars say? Well, when is it going to be over? When is this? And it's like, oh, this is like, the stars are tarot to me. You know, the stars are a reflection of our now. And it's, if it was as simple as, you know, a planet moving into a new sign to wash away all the sorrow, like, again, well, first of all, that's just not real. It's not life. But wouldn't everyone be using astrology if it was all that simple, you know? So I think too, while the constellations, while the sky in its kind of predictability in some ways, you know, continues to move, there's always going to be some spiritual truth. That's also what our spiritual truth is at any given moment is probably changing depending on the state of where we are in our maturation and our quest for life, a la the child born of an eggshell. Yeah, there's just like, there's a real disruptive vibe, but it's not necessarily bad to this full moon. I think it just feels like, I can't unsee this. I can't keep going. Matrix has been broken. This is how I want to live my life. Everyone told me to do it this way. It didn't work. Like, it's just, it's okay also, I think, to be disappointed or frustrated or being like, yeah, like, I thought it would go this way and it didn't. And ain't that something? Let me see the other aspects going on too. Well, this magic triangle. So for the moon is getting, you know, a sextile from Neptune and a trine from Uranus. There's a lot of support there to seek more, to want more, to know that, like, actually there's bigger things out there for you. There's more to discover, that things can be really like ever changing and inspirational and inspiring, and just like, what's the rush to quote figure it out and get to the end? Like, we're not in the end. Like, life is just such an unfolding project. So I think just like the mysteries of the world are like not something to fear, but something to just know that that's kind of forever and to continue to work with. Yeah. And then on the flip side of that cat's cradle of those twin peaks, you know, that Sun and Jupiter are getting sextiled from Uranus and then trine from Neptune. So Uranus and Neptune are real, like, the guardian angels in a way of this full moon. Like, Jupiter conjunct the Sun wants so much, and that's totally valid. And then Aquarius moon with Pluto wants so little and wants to like remove and burn some things down, and that's okay. And I think the Uranus message is so like, what can you change? And also, but Neptune's like, well, what are we trying to embody and envision in a very like Neptunian, thinking about Neptune connected to the powers of Venus and art, and just like the unknown things. Like, it's okay. Yeah, there's like a little bit of like, you're not supposed to know, and that's part of life. Sometimes we just really don't fucking know. I actually love that astrology leaves room for unknowns, right? And like things that might not make sense. I mean, especially we'll look at the Mercury square Saturn of it all too. Like, there's other aspects afoot that I think, and also Mars square Venus, I'm going to talk about in a bit. Before I do, I'm going to let y'all go because this is where the paywall starts. So if you want to keep going on this chart, feel free to upgrade your subscription. There's also free trials if you want to like have a trial, 7 days. If I need to put in like the tip feature or something. I saw like some website that was like, buy me a coffee. Like, you could do like a one-off thing. I wish Substack would let you just buy a one-off episode. If you really were like, I don't want to have a monthly thing, but I want to just buy a single episode. But to come, I'm sure that will. But in the meantime, I'll see you next time for the third spacers. Those are the ones who upgraded their subscription, who are paid members. Love you so much. And we're going to keep this chart I was going to say annihilation. Whoa. Analyzing. But like, hey, have you ever seen, the movie Annihilation with Natalie Portman and Tessa Thompson? It's like a stack cast. I just really love that movie. This full moon is actually quite like good weather for watching Annihilation. Okay, anyways, see you on the other side of the paywall, and let's keep talking. Let's go straight. I want to go to Saturn and Mercury because I think this means a lot. Okay, ciao.